Evening, everybody. Ah, Travis, I thought you'd go to sleep by now. Right, we've got a bit of a problem tonight with our transmission system. The second USB HDMI converter started to just get really hot and effectively just died. So I had to sacrifice the Panasonic 4K camera, which is the one that we had looking down, and that's back to the old Logitech C920. And of course, yeah, I had to keep the microscope as HDMI. I couldn't get that to run as USB anymore for some reason. So anyway, yeah, so this $20 little jobby, I mean, they did do a good job while they were working, but now it's no good, so it goes in straight into the bin. And I'll just have to save up for a Mage Well. I'm pretty close to getting a Mage Well. It's just, yeah, a little bit off, another 100 or two, and then I'll be able to get one. Alright. Hey, familiar. The HDMI converters do seem to work, but like I said, yeah, they obviously have some corners cut somewhere. I mean, you can't get a $20 HDMI converter for and expect it to be as good as a $800 Mage Well. Anyway. Alright, let's get straight to the machine because I wasted a good hour and a half stuffing around with the video systems here, trying to do this for all you ungrateful folk. So this one here actually comes from one of our viewers, Jason, from, what is it again? Yep, Unofficial Mac. And, well, it's just dead apparently. I thought it was liquid damage, but apparently it's just dead. So we'll just pop this straight up and find out what's going on. Yeah, Infomedia, they're all kind of lying type things. Like they'll say 60 frames per second, but it's really 30 frames per second. And that ties in with the whole USB 2 rather than USB 3 thing, etc. Ooh, okay, so we've got the T2 chips being meddled with already. I think I'll just put the lid back on this one. No T2 for me, thank you, good sir. I've been finding my equipment's taken a dive lately, just here and there, bits and pieces. It's a little bit frustrating. Where's my USB-C cable? Come on, USB-C, where are you? Oh, there you go. It's been one of those fun days. I even had to open up a Samsung Galaxy A8 or A8, I think it was, because the person managed to destroy the USB-C pins for the charging. But all they want to do is just back up the phone, get their contacts and things like that. So I had to go through the process of actually taking the back off, taking the plastics off, and then, hey, why does this run on? Oh well. And then unclip the battery and charge it manually by soldering two little wires to it. Yep. The 260, 270, and then restarts. Does get into the quick charge mode. Yeah, I don't have the highest of hopes for this one. Something about it just says to me it's gonna be a highway to hell. Just something about it, something about it. Hey, Mikkel Billman. Okay, let's get this battery disconnected if nothing else. It's probably the ISL 9240. That thing is making some really strange sounds. Like, is it maybe my audio? I'm a bit nasally tonight, so I do apologise. Hey, it's everybody's friend, no money. Surgeon circuits. Ah, that's right, you were asking questions on my previous videos. I remember you. About the ultrasonic, I do believe. Unless my memory's failing me. Hey, Terry Taylor, Amals. Ach, niemand, come on. Ah, you must. Yeah, okay, yeah. Just move on, Paul. It's not really nose, well, yeah, maybe it could be nose blow time. Okay, we've got a missing screw on the display connector. Yeah, Miles, it has been that kind of a day. When you've had a bad day, then Afrikaans is the ideal language to express your feelings. I think the worst thing I hate about working on these boards that feel like they're going to be just dead-end rabbit hole type scenarios is that you have to go through the whole process of undoing everything with full knowledge that you're probably going to have to put it all back together and it's a dud. It's like, I feel like if you're going to have to take the loss of the dud, you should be able to just not put it back together. You should be able to just leave it in a pile and that's it. It's like, it had its chance, it doesn't get to go back together because it didn't work. I think that's fair. Micro went in for his... Oh, you're talking about Simba. It's the ginger one. Yeah, here's... Okay, we've got very much the wrong screw on there. I wonder if this is the actual... Yeah, that screw that I just pulled out of there is actually meant for the display connector. He's still limping, holding his leg and all that, but he sits down on it okay, so I don't think it's broken. I think he's had a severe sprain. He may have been nipped at by a dog. In which case he just needs to get himself some rest and avoid dogs. I did go along and put a hole in the fence in the what we call the wedge section, and that will allow them now to come in and out of the property without having to actually jump over the fence. Normally we let them in if we see them, but they get impatient and they go, well, we can just jump over the fence. But Simba with his messed up leg probably shouldn't be doing that, so we'll try and avoid that. Arnold G, Barry. It's allergy to tea chip. Can't speak today. My goodness. Monday, I tell you. And I didn't get my TV today, which is part of my title on tonight's video, in that buy local, which is often touted in smaller towns, is a outrageous scam, really. And it sort of like pits your loyalty in a way that ultimately just ends up being a disappointment. I think, sure, buy local, but I'm making it so that the only way I'm buying local is if it's in there in stock now. I'm not going to go for the whole, we can order it for you. As soon as you hear those words, we can order it in for you, just run. Just say, nah, no worry. Don't worry about it, mate. I'm just going to get something else. Because they play on the fear that you, if warranty occurs, let's say something goes wrong, you can bring it back to them and they'll deal with the service and all that. But the thing is, that in itself is a protracted process at the best of times. Whereas if I say buy it from a large name, brand name store, say, I don't know, Harvey Norman or JB Hi-Fi or something like that, if something goes wrong with it, I can pack that sucker up, drive to Townsville, and then probably get them to replace it when I get there. Or at least if I call them up, organise something like that. And then 3 hours later, I've got myself a new TV back at home. Whereas locally, if something goes wrong, you you hand it to the local, who then ships it off to the regional service centre, perhaps if you're lucky. And then 6 weeks later, you find out that they've lost it, and you have to go through the whole process of getting a replacement and things like that. But yeah, hey Hypermon. Oh yeah, I really got it. No, I've got to go blow this nose in the vain hope that it actually clears it, but I'll be back. Alright, okay, we're back. Oh, yeah, baby. Oh, okay. All good. Um, we got any plans for food for later? I don't know why, even though it was a huge meal, I'm back to being hungry again. Anyway, I'll get some toast and Vegemite or something later. Or maybe toast and honey. Yeah, I am. Okay. Ah, dear. Anyway, yeah, as I was saying, so if it's in stock, sure, I don't mind paying. And I'll even pay like 10-20% premium if it's local and in stock. Because I understand the difficulties in maintaining stock. I mean, I've done it a few times. But where it goes all wrong, and it's also bad for the reputation of the local stores, is they put the order in for, in my case, say the TV, and it's 7 to 10 days before you even maybe might get it. And that's just ridiculous in this day and age when I can actually make an order, say, for that same thing down in Melbourne, and it can be here overnight for less than the cost of what it costs me locally. So I don't get a discount local, but I have to deal with the delays and everything like that, all because apparently you get better service if things go wrong. Like I said, it's better off for me really to buy something like that in Townsville if they don't have it local, and just go to Townsville if something goes wrong with it. I mean, the last one we had lasted 6 years, and I can still fix the one that's broken now. It's just got a bad LED backlight on it. So anyway, it's just frustrating because you try to give the locals a chance, but the trouble is you need to treat them or work with them in a way that actually doesn't lead you into these situations. So that was my fault there. I shouldn't have ordered something that they didn't have. I should have said, well, you don't have it, so I'm going to go to Townsville and get it from the place that I can. And then, yeah, because I buy plenty of stuff from the local stores that they have in stock. But that's just it. If it's not in stock, don't buy it. And it's just frustrating because on the radio adverts that they like to have around here, they're like, if we don't have it in stock, we can get it tomorrow. And it's like, no, you can't. I mean, yeah, okay, someone's been hot airing around here. It looks like my kind of trash. I know they mean well, and I know they're trying to, keep business local, but at the same time, they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot by doing that because they can't satisfy the demand. That's the problem. And I know it's not even their fault. They put the order in quick enough, but the trouble is their warehouses and such can't deliver at the rate that they need. And the ISL has been replaced too. And it's a 9240. Oh man. Hey, Electronics Workshop. Oh. That's weird. I don't know why that didn't switch over. It might be because, for some reason, my thingamajig's not doing its thingamajig. Solder bridge, talking trash. Ugh. Sorry, you get to see my bulbous gutto. Yeah. Suck it in, Paul. Suck it in. Okay, there we go. Right, the one cable that I forgot was the one that is needed for the compass switching. Alright, that's better. So yeah, we've got a 9240. And yeah, there's obviously some sort of liquid damage hit around about here. At least they're 3215s. Interesting combination, 3215s and the 9240s. Sort of like a crossover before they switched over to the 3217s. Is that 0 ohm resistor got a crack in it, or is it just got a hair on it? I think it's a hair, Captain. Interesting. I see they're using pen marks here to guide them when they put the chip back on. Alright, I'm going to try with just another, what do you call it, USB-C port, just to see if there's any difference in behavior. Travis, there's two elements to the compass switcher. One is obviously the compass board itself. The other is a I2C to USB bridge. They're just, I didn't even bother to like design my own or anything. I just strung them together. So yeah, I just have a I2C bridge and then just a compass chip and a bit of software I use to put it together in Linux. Ooh, we ain't got nothing. There we go. I spoke too soon. Okay, it's still 270, so it's not being held down by, sometimes it can be held down by the switches and other peripherals. 270, It's not really a lot of power. That's because it's not going through the multimeter or anything like that at the moment. The multimeter works. See, and the power supply works. See, but the thing is, this is not going through the power supply. Barry is having a Barry day. The hard thing about these sort of scenarios, hey, only 555, is that you just don't know what has already been. What is this? This is a 1041. Okay, it's interesting that the fact that the T2 has been reworked kind of makes me think I should stop looking at this. It's probably a very bad idea that I keep looking at this. A20W. Ah, look, it's Pedro Scam You. See, you were feeling the love today, Pedro, from me. It was nice that we have that relationship going there. Yeah, I think I'm going to put this aside because I have a horrible feeling about this one. I think this one's going to be a chase the white rabbit and you end up in a dead end when your torch goes out and a grue comes along and eats you. We'll try something different. Something different. What have I got? What is, nope, not you. 623. We'll try this one. This one's got liquid damage and it needs a bit of a rebuild. Lewis isn't going to get jealous. Lewis doesn't even know who I am these days. He's got his new friends in Washington. They can all laugh and eventually they'll all start scratching each other's back. It'll be like Pirates of the Caribbean, and the great ship of politics will absorb Lewis and he'll become just another barnacle eventually. Oh joy, these are underfilled. Oh, that's good and bad. Hey, Victor Young. Alright, so this is a major... This is bad. For 2 reasons, or 3 reasons, maybe more reasons. 1, it's very old corrosion. 2, it's deep corrosion, as it's really soaked itself in. 3, someone else has been just like really cavalier with a scratching all and whatnot, and they've knocked the dillies off quite a few, and we've got a few veers here that are now going to have to be rescued. And it's definitely what I would say as a I hereby classify this as a cluster job. Yes, a cluster job indeed. This probably could have been entirely repairable until the person went along and went really. Solder bridge? No, I'm not lazy. How dare you? I'd kick you out if I wasn't so lazy. Wow, this is... So it was nasty liquid damage, but it was made worse by the perhaps well-intentioned actions to try and clean it up. Good God, man. That's a disaster. Yeah, Teresa, it would be if it wasn't a job. Oh, now I know what Barry was saying. Interesting, my job data is not showing up. Hey.
Do you want Vegemite or honey?
Oh no, I'll get it later.
Are you sure?
Yeah, sure, because I'm sort of in the middle.
Crap.
Yeah. Emmo, hang on.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Let me just... Milo, come on. Ah, let's see. We got... No. Look. Say hello, Milo. You're not supposed to be in the room, Milo. Yeah. Alright, time to go out. Oh, Loki almost too. And now Micro.
Sorry.
That's okay. Attack of the trio, boys. Alright. For some reason my scanner, everything's just a wreck tonight. Maybe I should just give up. Anyway. First thing we've got to do is find this board. Let's see, what are you? Oh, you're an 850. That's kind of weird. You'd think I'd know that. So, job 623. Just bringing up a 850 board. You can't say things like that on YouTube. Alright. So we're looking at what area. And what's going to be bad is that there's probably a lot of parts that we don't even know. Maybe they're not even listed here. But this is okay, look, this is a decent start. I think what the first thing I'll try to do is wash this the proper way. And the way we do that is we use some 80-20. Okay, so it's got a bit of water in it, but it's not a big problem. As long as we don't leave it there for a week, which is about how long I'm going to need to find my toothbrush. There we go. Okay, so we use the 80-40 to try and... I mean, it might not work. I'm pretty sure it was liquid-based. Of course it was liquid-based, Paul. Water-based. I gotta admit, it actually is resisting my charms. Interesting that it's only this area. Camera. Oh, what is going on here? Sorry, folks. It's one of those nights, I'm afraid. Alright, now we're gonna get a new tube of not so new flux. We do the flux and boil. It is unfortunate when you lose the opportunity to do what would, I mean, it'd still be a moderately difficult repair, or I should rather say tedious repair. But yeah, it's frustrating when you lose the opportunity to do one of these repairs with the least amount of work required. But yeah, it happens. Things get a little bit more difficult because of what's happened to it. Like, it looks like we've got at least 4 or 5 parts knocked off. My biggest concern are going to be the veers. Hopefully I don't have to chase them too far. I'm kind of curious what they were using to brush off the corrosion, because this toothbrush isn't really going to knock off any parts, not unless they're truly just holding on by mere termites holding hands, so to speak. But to knock off parts and leave behind the end caps, that takes a bit of force. Like this one here, that one there, there. Yeah, they've been knocked off, and there too, with quite a bit of force. As you can see, things aren't looking quite so bad now. A bit ugly, but not quite as bad as when we first approached it. Kind of the reverse of a nightclub situation. Usually you approach things at in the dark and at late hours and drunk, and it looks pretty good. And then later on, when you have a better look in the sunlight, you go, oh god, and yeah, that's when you do your whole chew your arm off, your coyote escape. Not that I've ever done that. But yeah, it's just a shame, that's all. Like I said, we should be able to repair this, or at least I certainly hope we can. The other problem is that even when we have fixed up all this, there's no guarantee that things are even going to start up again yet. Yeah, the real fault may be laying elsewhere. Okay, there's a lot of ground plane heat absorption here. I'm going to need some assistance. First thing you have to do is get those end caps actually off. Because if you solder on top of them, it does not work well. Sometimes they even effectively insulate what you're trying to solder onto them. Yeah, we're going to need a new knife for this one. Yeah, maybe it was a metal brush. Guess we'll never really know. Yeah, new blade in. For this sort of work, I actually do find surgical blades to be preferential. These hobby sort of X-Acto number 11s and whatnot, they're good, but they don't quite have the shape and edge that you want. But if you are diving around cutting things a lot, then yeah, these are great. But if you're scrapey, then the surgical knives, some of them with nice curvy tips and things like that, they're very handy. Damn, look at that. That pad broke away from that veer. It's a pull down or it's a decoupling. Probably a pull down. I'd be a little bit surprised if they put a decoupling cap all on its own like that, but and look at this one. See, the corrosion has actually shot through the board. So that's not connected anymore. This is another missing veer one. Damn it. I do hate it when they put veers under the components. That there's probably a no stuff, so it's not a problem. Hey Mary Claire, Keith, yes you are right, this board is a mess. Okay, this one here I'm not sure if it might have been a no stuff. We do have a, okay, that's probably a no stuff then, fine. This one here we know did have a cap on it because we had the literal end cap sitting on that. It's probably something like a 1 microfarad or 10 microfarad cap. The ones you really want to watch for are the resistor ones. In most cases the caps you can get away with, at least just a test and all that. But if you've got a resistor one, then it's probably performing some function or pulling down a line to create a signal of some sort. So that's why they matter. So we'll find out what this one here is to start with. Okay, so that lonely one in the middle there is in fact a cap, so we'll ignore that for now. So we'll do the all-in. There we go. Okay, the next one I'm wondering about is this one here. So we've got cap, resistor, something. Okay, so this is it here, and this is probably going to be a problem. 8910, and yeah, so that connects the 1V8 to the rest of the circuit. So that is kind of important. Without that we won't boot. And it possibly won't detect the drive, things like that. So we will need to get this one, but the trouble is veer is under there and it's corroded a fair bit down. Like as I keep digging at it, just that bright orange corrosion keeps coming up. Let's see, fortunately, okay, it looks like, okay, we're lucky in some ways maybe. It's showing up in many places, but the question is, are we going to be unlucky enough that the veer that's under there is actually the one that connects it to everything else? and it's sitting right underneath here, so we don't have a choice. Worst case scenario, we probably can route through to the other side to a point like these. I would say likely this data is corrupted and gone, but who knows. But certainly this one here, we definitely have to get back to life. What we can do to find out if we need to do it through this veer or whether we can get away with it elsewhere, is we'll take a diode mode measurement on the other points and compare it to the other side. Hey James Ebing, welcome. Good evening to you, sir. And if the diode mode measurements match up, then we know that there's probably other vias, and you hope that they're all interconnected. I have to laugh at that because, yeah, that's such a wishful thinking thing. Okay, so what are we after? We need a ground point for the positive. Okay, 354. And we'll flip it over. And on this GC cap here, we'll do the same. I know it's out of focus, I do apologise. Niemand, come on. And 354. So in this case, it means we can run a wire rather than trying to chase that via through the board. John, I've already veered off the previous one, but funny joke. Good pun there. Good pun. Alright, so let's put the caps back. 10 microfarad, 63402. Nice jelly bean type cap. It's always good to have some jelly bean caps. Oh, Pianov's in here. Is he lurking? Hello, Pure Lurker. Let's see. 1, 1, 10, 10. What do we actually want? We want 1063. 1063, 402. Marvellous. Now, I could have used the 10 volt ones, but since I do have the 6.3 ones, that's the better choice. Because it matches the original. It's not a guarantee that it's actually the same cat, to be honest, because there are many different grades of capacitors within any series. So, you may see when you're ordering capacitors, they have different sort of tolerance specs and stuff like that, or you see things like X5R, X6R, and whatever, and they all relate to how the cap behaves relative to frequency and temperature and tolerances and things like that. Hey Fred Demidi. Surgeon Circus, well, it depends if you're sorry, working. Okay, that looks really shoddy, but don't worry about that. Maybe tell your boss you're going to be making money for him. Assuming you are. When it comes to electronics, there's actually a surprising amount of things you can get away with. And there's also, of course, certain situations that you absolutely can't get away with certain things. So the more you know, the more you can bodge your way through fixes. Oh, flip me. That was interesting. That was even more interesting. Good thing 402s are so large that I can actually see them on my desk, even with my failing eyesight. Just can't get a grip on this thing. Much better. And this cap over here is also the same. Oop, I think I just spat a cap out. Is that a cap or is that a piece of junk? Oh, it's a piece of board snot. I don't want to heat up this area too much because we do have a chip under here and it is underfilled. I mean, it is protected by the shield and everything else, so it would take quite a bit to get it to have problems, but you don't want to push your luck where you don't have to push your luck. We're going to take this special cap off. Well, that is quite a train wreck. For all we know, that could have been shorted. But I don't think there's much point in me trying to resurrect that one. We'll assess based on how stable the performance is later. Alright. So what we can do here, since this is the line that we need to go into here, let's go into the... Oops, someone covered up the... Tinkerman Mick, thank you very much. Haven't seen you around before, Tinkerman Mick. I very much appreciate your Australian 20 bucks. Does that mean you are Australian, or you just put the extra effort into converting to Australian dollars for me? And if you are Australian, whereabouts are you? Alright, the resistor that connects this A1990 that we got missing, that we're chasing a vehicle, it's a 0 ohm resistor. So technically what we can do is we can actually just run a wire from these two caps, since they are on the same net, and attach it up to here. So what I might do is clean up those two caps, which means I'll probably get rid of them, because it looks like there's a bit of nasty corrosion going on down there. So I'll get rid of the two caps, clean up the track, put some fresh caps down, and then run the flippin' heck. That is very reluctant to stay down, isn't it? Fellow Aussie in Victoria. You used to watch when you have a 10,000. Well, yeah, we've it's been 2 years or so, I think. Well, thank you. Are you in Melbourne or outside of Melbourne? And I believe you guys are going through another fiasco with the COVID. Alright, we do have a problem now. I can see there's a veer at the end here, and that veer quite likely is the one that provides the other end of the rail that we want. Hey Sonia, thank you. Coffee. Well, funnily enough, this is going to make me sound like a cheapskate, but I found that when I do my trips to Townsville, there's a store about 50 k's, a petrol station, about 50 k's out of Townsville on my way back. And they've just got the self-serve $1 coffee thing, so you pay $1 and you get a small cup, or if you pay more you can have like bigger cups like whale or guppy size or whatever. And surprisingly, the coffee is actually much better than most of the barista created cups in Townsville. And I only found out because I one day was driving back from Townsville and I picked up a cup of coffee and it was just horrendous. It was just unable to be. I couldn't drink it. I sort of said, no, this is no good. I'm not going to waste my limited amount of caffeine tolerance for the day on this vile coffee. And so I stopped at this place, and it's just got a sophisticated machine that does everything for you. And I said, one coffee, please. And I put my dollar in, and what do you know? It came out really good. So now when I come back from Townsville, I stop at this place, get some petrol for the car, and then get some fuel for me. But it is interesting how, even with the assistance of a barista and such, you can end up with shonky tasting coffee still. So that's going to be 10 coffees for me, Sonia. Thank you. Heck, I reckon the coffee I have at home is probably cost me more than that. Mostly because I'm a sick fellow and laden it up with cream. (7-Eleven) coffee. I suppose it's something like that. It's pretty much the same concept. They just have an entirely automated machine, and it just consistency is the key there. Oh my goodness, this is such a train wreck, this one. Tea. Well, I do have rooibos tea. And I will have just plain black tea now and then, but overall I prefer my coffee. Because I'm a heathen. I'm not truly very British. Okay, we've got to find out where this rail comes from, just in case we've got a bridge from that. And yes, boiling water is not the ideal temperature. Alright, we do have a problem on our hands. This is the rail, and we have a little veer that's up here. And we can see we've got one great big interconnect on the other side. The big blue dot means there's a pad on the other side of the board. And unfortunately you find that smack bang in the middle of the chip. So that's very bad news for us. So we absolutely must make sure that we save this veer that's up here. What's even worse is that it's offset from where the ball is on the chip. Often with CPUs, when you lose a veer, you'll find that veer pretty much just goes straight up into the ball of where the CPU is. and not offset like this one is. Oh yes, 6+ a day for you, Tinkerman. Whoa, that's... I'll have 4, and they will be the little cups, you know, just the... it is funny that in terms of coffee, you see those coffee makers, as I say, 12-cup coffee maker, and then you find out really it's more of a 4-cup coffee maker in terms of metric cups, or imperial cups, or whatever, 250 milliliters. Bob Wirham. Well, you can do it, but it's a lot of work, and I am actually working on something like that. Right now, there's so many things I've got to tackle that I probably won't be handling that anytime soon. Okay, we do have a connect there. The trouble is I just don't know how good that connect is, and I'm kind of wondering I should just accept it for what it is, leave it alone, because it has flowed nicely. It's not it's not balled up on top of the veer or anything like that. It's properly wicked out. So I think I should leave it alone and accept that one works. And I might actually be able to drop a ball into this one. And so we can... Yeah, I'm getting a build up there. Okay, so I might actually be able to put a 0 ohm resistor. What are these? 201s. 201 0 ohms. Yes, Barry, I do tend to agree. Accept this one as it is. Accept the gift that I have been given, which is the fact that it is still connected. Okay. 201 0 ohms. Often considered to be the most useless type resistors around, but in reality are actually exceptionally useful. They're very handy from a design perspective because effectively they give you an additional layer on your circuit board. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop some solder paste into there, but before I do that I actually need to clean away a lot of that flux. If I don't clean the flux away, what will happen is the solder paste will just spread out everywhere, and we won't get a lot in our intended destination. And unfortunately I've left a whole bunch of hairy remains there. Okay, get some solder paste. Yeah, I think there might be a lot of conformal coating on this. So I'm just going to use the knife and just scratch off a itty bitty little bit, which is a huge amount. Yeah, Reese, you probably... it's a corrosion bomb site. Okay. I'm just going to put that there. Launch into some hopes and prayers and other completely useless things like that. Okay, 390 but 20 litres a minute. Looks like I'm going to lose most of those solder balls, damn it. Looks like I need a lot more air. I was somewhat hoping that the because the balls are suspended away from the board itself, that the flux would actually get hot enough, yeah, to do that sort of thing. But I misjudged how much I needed. So I might actually redo this. So I did have about the right amount of solder off for what I want to do. See if we can get that ball to pop like that. See how it just popped into place? That's when you know that you've made the right contact. That's when you know that it's actually connected, as opposed to just drifting around seemingly where you think you want it. Have you ever tried using the foam swabs? I have, but the trouble with the foam swabs is that they do snare on the, the various spiky parts and stuff like that, so it makes it difficult. Steve, yeah, true, I could have gotten a ball from the jig. Alrighty. At this point, I may just, I might fire it up and see. Well, I probably should check to see what this missing one is, but I have a feeling it's a cap. It is a cap, so it's not a problem. I'll fire it up, see if we have any success. Or at least if we get 20 volts or something. Mr. Tinkerman, you're going to run out of your budget for the night. Thank you very much, good sir. Come on. Okay, that took a while. It's another 270 one. Oh, there we go. We've got 20 volts. 3, 5, 7, 8, 7. Come on, give me an amp. Give me an amp. 400. Well, we do have our 20 volts, so that's a good thing. I'll put it back into the chassis and see if we're actually getting any kind of a boot. I have a feeling we're not, but it's worth a shot. Okay, Tickerman, will you take care of yourself? Watch out for that COVID down in Victoria. I do personally have a preference for Victoria and Melbourne over Sydney, and I'm not trying to start a West Side Story war or anything like that. It's just I've always been a bit more of a Adelaide, Melbourne, Tasmania type person. Sydney to me sort of strikes me more as like a New Yorkish place. I mean, I have been there a few times now, and I'm technically somewhat of that city, but yeah. The other thing, maybe this, I don't know if this board will boot without the battery or not. I'm not 100% sure about the 850s. Have you ever seen Tasmanian Devil? No, I have not. Not in real life, anyway. Alrighty. That's interesting. This is still holding 20 volts. I don't know what it is about this particular micro USB meter. This is no slight against Jim. Jim is the one that sent me this, but it has a very strange behavior. I can't trust it. And it's quite a problematic thing when you can't trust your tools, your test equipment, which is why I ended up sending back the first big multimeter that I got. Well, I shouldn't say the first, it was actually the second. The Vicky was the first one. I actually am considering getting another Vicky, but one with a dedicated USB port on it, because they are surprisingly good meters for the sort of work that we do. I won't be using Chipmunk on this one, not today. Alright, I'll have to read this out to you. 20 volts, 3, 4, 7, 8. We've got a fan spin. We've got an Apple logo. Yep, we've got an Apple logo and we are booting. So I think what the problem was that particular rail, that one little resistor that had corroded through. That was what was the problem. With it gone, the system couldn't boot to any file system. I'm too careful though that, damn it, I need my privacy screen here. Give me a privacy screen. Just put it between your legs and there we go. But of course, there's all the rest of the damage in that area, and that probably really does need to be cleaned up. Some of those capacitors need to be put back. Not because they are needed to work outright, but because they improve the ability for the system to work under varying conditions. So without those capacitors, it's going to work like maybe now, but perhaps if the temperature gets a little hotter, or maybe there's extra demands on the circuitry elsewhere, maybe you do an encoding or something like that, then at that point the system may not work reliably. It will fall out of the compliance envelope, as it were. Okay, so right now we are actually stuck, it seems. So I am perhaps a little worried that maybe that RAM got corrupted, but no, we just brightened up, so that's a good sign. Come on, man. Yes, it must have been doing like a disk check or something. I hope. It is certainly taking its time. It could also be doing, it could be, no, touchpad's connected. Battery is disconnected though. It may be going to the have you forgotten your password setup. Zam Sadiklov, what is Sadikovic? Sadikovic? Is that it? Thank you very much for the €5.49. And there we have it. We are alive. Amazing. Yeah, I'm even amazed. Looking at that damage, I was genuinely not expecting it to live. But do we have all our functionality? Yes, we do have a trackpad. Oh, bugger me. Tony, it's running off the internal SSD. Very rarely with these newer models can I run my macOS combination like one of this, because most of the time these have their boot drives, the system is secure boot locked. and a lot of the times the people don't give me the password. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. It's not, they understand what I can and can't do as a consequence of that, which means I can't boot to my testing OS stick. Good pronunciation in Australian. Well, thank you very much. I will happily take that compliment. It is doing a boot thing. It's spinning its little wheel right now. Hello, Dennis Adams. Steve K, yes, it's trying to transfer all that power across. I don't really know how much power is acquired. If I go back to the schematic, so where is it? This here was the brake. So it's 1v8 SSDO. And it goes to AVDDH. So it looks like it's more of a communication power line, PCI. I don't know. It doesn't look like in itself would draw a lot of power. They've only got a 1 microfarad and a 100 nanofarad decoupler on there, so they're not expecting a lot of power consumption. Tony, I think... Yeah, it's a good question. I'm not sure. I think it is HFS because it works on older models. Yeah, Pianov, I do sincerely agree with you. Okay, it looks like it's taken forever as a guest user. Oh, there we go. This is the thing about life. You got to complain so that things get done. Okay. The other thing is it is running without its battery. So we'll shut down. I'll say we'll shut down. I'll leave it for the night, which I know is a little bit dangerous. And then in the morning, I'll back it up to a 500 gig solid state drive. I tend to buy quite a few of those Samsung T5 500 gigabyte solid state drives. They're fairly well priced, like about $80-90, and yeah, they're just, it's a nice, I mean, I know you can say buy a 1 terabyte spinning Rust drive for $55, but I prefer when I'm shipping people stuff in the mail to send them a solid state backup. If you shut down, your files will be deleted. Yes, that's fine, because it's a guest user. Require data nodes. What? Microsoft Auto Update? Whatever. That was very strange. But I'm very happy with the fact that that actually booted. And it did come in, no longer switches on. It was taken to the Apple shop and they rejected the repairs. There was water damage. Device has since been opened. Sent a photo to me. Yep. Okay. Yeah, the T5s are really nice. I'm not too fussed about the T7s with all the fingerprint stuff. It seems like they sort of were a bit bored and decided, well, let's try and find a way to suck some money out of people for no good reason. But the T5s, I like them. Alright, that's that. Now, what I should really do, before I forget, as always, is to, of course, make the various comments that I need to make on the repair data. see. A1990 missing. Required for SD functionality. Reinstalled. Extensive corrosion and physical break-off events with components in the entire area. Submit. Hey gadgets. Miles, I take it you're saying the T7s are overpriced, in which case I completely agree. It's ridiculous that you have the T5 at $89 for the 500 and then the T7 is about $149. It's almost double the price. And it's very pointless. Okay. Alright, we are done for the night. We managed to get one success. The other one that with that T2 in it, I'm thinking it's probably already 6 foot under, but I'll talk to the person about it and see what they think. But I have a sneaky suspicion that it's probably already being cooked and dead, so yeah. But no, it was good to fix this because when I looked at that corrosion, I was genuinely worried that we would have lost something important, but very, very lucky those two vias managed to hold on, particularly the second one that's just sitting with the only one other places to go under the RAM chip, the MV RAM. If that had been inaccessible, then what you'd have to do, and I don't know if I'd even have the skill to do this, is you'd basically have to take that chip off the board, flip it up, and then rewire everything that way. And no, I don't see myself being doing that. I know some people do that, but for me, that's sort of like probably a step too far. Yep. Okay, well, you all take care. Thank you very much for the contributions. It's always appreciated. Remember, of course, always to like and subscribe and share around and, help me get to 1 million subscribers so that I can retire happily and look after all the dozens of cats and, talk about in the old days when I used to be a soldering person. All right. Thank you all again. I will see you perhaps tomorrow. Until then, take care. I'll catch you later.